Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk about the new character from Inazuma, which is called Kiryu Kazuha. We're gonna take a look at his stats from Honey Hunter World. Oh whoops, wrong Kiryu. Okay, so here it is. This is Kiryu Kazuha. He's an animal sword character. At level 90 he has 13k base HP, which is pretty high, and 800 base defense, which is also quite a tanky side. And the base attack is 297. It's a typical 5-star support character on the stronger side. And he has elemental mastery substats. His attack talents is pretty normal, but he has a lot of attack hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A total of 8, so it's quite interesting to see a Scarlet Blade on him, other than his signature weapon later on. And he has a weak charge attack damage. It's only 200% on level 8. His plunge damage is quite normal, on the normal side. Compared to Keqing, I think he's slightly weaker, but we still don't know how's the attack speed. There's also a variant of his plunging attack, which is Ranran Haishi. So when in mid-air due to the effects of Chihayafuru, which is his elemental skill, plunging attack damage is converted to animal damage and will create a miniature wind tunnel via a secret technique. So it makes a mini black hole. I think it's gonna be like Viridescent Hunt, the Battle Pass bow. The interesting part is it changes to animal damage, which is quite a significant damage boost for a support. Now next is his elemental skill, Chihayafuru. Again, there are two versions, which is the press and hold. His elemental skill can be used mid-air, unleashes a secret technique as fierce as the rushing wind that pulls objects and opponents toward Kazuha's current position before launching the opponents within the AoE, dealing animal damage and lifting Kazuha into the air on a rushing wind current. So it's basically like Sucro's elemental skill, but it also lifts Kazuha himself. So you can do a plunge attack afterwards, and if you do it mid-air, I think it increases the plunge attack, which is the high plunge damage, like this one, this part. The damage, I'll compare it to Venti because they're both 5 stars. It's significantly lower damage, but he can do a plunge attack right away, so we'll see how it goes later on for the calculations. I won't be doing calculations in this video. And next is his elemental burst, which is Manyo no Ito. It slashes an AoE animal damage, single slash. Okay, and the passage will leave behind a field named Ruka Akino that deals AoE animal damage at set intervals to opponent within it. So it doesn't say that it will suck enemies in, like Venti. So I'm guessing it's more like Ayaka's elemental burst. So you do a single slash and then it creates AoE animal damage. That's it. And then elemental absorption, just like every other animal character. Same one. Slashing damage is at level 8 for around 20%. That's okay. So depending on how many DOTs are the elemental burst going to be, still don't know yet, so I'm gonna leave that part later. So this is his passive talents. Decreases sprinting stamina by 20%. It's good for an animal character, so you can have him and Venti together to get a lot of stamina consumption decrease. Or even Xiao, I think, for climbing, I think. Is it? Not sure. Okay, so for the Ascension Talent 1, if Chihayafuru comes into contact with elements being used, there will be elemental absorption and deals 200% additional damage of that elemental type. So this is going to be useful in Spiral Abyss or, for example, like the Noblesse domain to break shields. It's kind of like a counter element. It's gonna be useless for like slimes, I think, like the water domain or the cryo domain. It's gonna be useless unless maybe you apply, for example, like pyro on yourself, like Bennett's Q. And then next is the Ascension 2. Ascension 2? Was it? Ascension 4 talent, right? So when triggering a swirl, Kaedehara. This is Kiryu, I think. Kazuha will grant teammates 0.03% elemental damage bonus to their element for every point of elemental mastery. Yes, for 8 seconds. Bonuses for different elements obtained through this method can coexist. Wait. Bonuses for different elements. Oh, so he can buff a lot of elements at the same time. That's pretty cool. That's new, I think. No character or artifacts can do that at the moment. So it's quite a lot. If you think he can get 1000 element mastery, it's gonna be 30%. It's quite a lot. For the Constellations, decreases Chihayafuru cooldown by 10%. Using Q resets the E. And next is Constellation 2. It increases the current active character's elemental mastery by 200 if they are within the AoE of the Ruka Akino created by Manyo no Ito. This is just level upgrade on elemental skill. Energy is lower than 45. Okay, so he needs 60, right? 60, okay. Press E or hold, generate 3 or 4 energy. Regenerate 2 energy per second for Kazuha while gliding. That's an interesting mechanic. So he can do an E, like an elemental skill, to jump and then glide over, merry-go-round, something like that. And then he just do his plunging attack. By the time he does that, his E will be up again, because it's like, what, decreases 10%, and it's 6 seconds, so it will be up again. Interesting. But you're losing DPS by doing that, so keep that in mind. And then the next one, Constellation 5, is also a talent upgrade. Constellation 6 is Kazuha gains Animal Infusion for 5 seconds after using Chihayafuru or Manyo no Ito. Additionally, each point of elemental mastery will increase the damage dealt by normal, charge, plunging, and plunging special by 0.2%. Each point. Wait, what? So if he has 1000, it's gonna increase like 200%. So he can become a carry DPS with this one by ignoring his attack stats. So you can just build full elemental mastery with crit substats, like at least 50 to 70% crit rate, and then around 100% crit damage, and the rest go for elemental mastery, and I guess some recharge. Okay, so before C6 he's gonna be a support, dedicated support with full elemental mastery, or he can go for a normal attack / crit build, depending on the multipliers later on. It's gonna change. I'm sure it's gonna change later on, but I think he's gonna be a full elemental mastery on the artifacts, like getting 1000 elemental mastery at least, because this damage seems pretty big but takes a lot of time. Also, he's gonna be using a 4-piece Iridescent Venerer. With his high element mastery, the sword is gonna deal a lot of damage, and with the 4-piece it's gonna decrease the enemy's resistance to that particular elemental that's been absorbed. So this one, 200% additional damage of that elemental type, is gonna deal a lot of damage if you're doing it correctly. It's gonna be very clunky and awkward to use. I think he's hard to use compared to Venti, and then his Q doesn't do a suck like a Venti, but his Chihayafuru does. But we don't know yet how strong the pull is gonna be. But I'm guessing it's gonna be like the Iridescent Hunt like I mentioned earlier, which is pretty underwhelming in my opinion. But anyway, so his role is a burst support at C0. He's gonna use a 4-piece Iridescent Venerer. So how you play him is gonna be you swap him in, you do a jump, you do a Chihayafuru, either press or hold, whatever, and then you do a plunging attack run on Haishin. It's gonna suck the enemy in, and then you do a Manyo no Ito. So the enemy is gonna be sucked in, and then you'll do the burst. That's just how you're gonna do it. And then you do another Chihayafuru, maybe. Yeah, that's all we know right now. If we are comparing Venti to Kazuha, Kazuha is gonna be boosting your team's elemental damage, while Venti is more like himself is the carry, a high DPS damage, and he gives energy recharge on Venti. So Venti is more like a burst spam composition, while Kazuha is just a single burst, like a one-shot kinda, maybe. Especially looking at this C2, yeah, his role is kinda weird. So he's basically a support that's gonna become a carry later on if you have C6, which is, I don't think many people is gonna have that, so I'm gonna leave that thought. Anyway, depending on how fast his damage is gonna be, it could be a main DPS. Cause this 6 seconds cooldown with the plunge attack, it's gonna take like 2 seconds or 3 seconds, so it's gonna be really fast, his playstyle. Even without using his physical part, he could be dealing a lot of damage. So normal attack / crit build can be feasible if you want. So your team is gonna be built around him as the main DPS, and the other one is the team composition will be aura based, like Zhongli, Fischl, Beidou, those kind of characters. Anyway, so that's my thought for now. So if you're considering getting him or a Zhongli, wait, before that I'm gonna show you like how I think Chihayafuru will look like. So Chihayafuru is gonna be looking like Sucrose E, I'm guessing. So it's gonna pull enemy in, and then wait, Sucrose doesn't launch enemy. So I guess it's gonna pull like this, and then it's gonna do a this. Wait, no, more like this and this combined. Sucrose a single E and a Venti hold E. That's how Chihayafuru is gonna look like. Again. Ready? Here. Here. And his what is it? Ranran Haishi. It's gonna be like this small. Probably. Because it's just an elemental skill, so it's not gonna be very big like this one. Like Venti's Q. There's no way. Yeah, like that small thing. So the comparison, he's being leaked right now before Zhongli, which is also another support. So for those who are confused whether to get Zhongli or Kazuha, well, based on my first impression of Kazuha, I think he's gonna be kind of hard to use and not quite beginner friendly. There's a lot of build around him that's not confirmed yet. And also he's more like a damage amp, which can be substituted by a lot of characters like Mona example, or even Bennett Q. He's just also a damage amp, so it's gonna be hard to use as well because elemental absorption, it's hard to properly execute it. So again, back to your question, Zhongli or Kazuha, just go for Zhongli. Zhongli itself, his hold E, his shield can decrease elemental resistance for your enemy by 20%. That alone, just a single hold press, you're getting shield and elemental shred. It's just too good compared to this. He also has a crowd control, which is pretty low cooldown. But I think Zhongli is just too good. There's no other shielders like him right now. His shield is just too strong. He saved me a lot of times when I'm doing Spiral Abyss. And his Q also saved me a lot in Spiral Abyss 12, floor 12. When the Ruin Guards or Ruin Grader are spinning, you just press Q, you get iframe, and their spin will not deal any damage at all when they're petrified. So yeah, just go for Zhongli. At least get him C0. He seems fun to play though. That's one thing to keep in mind. Hard to play, fun to play. But then again, I'm gonna wait until we see actual gameplay of him. And that's all from me. Thank you.